Hi my loves, how's it going? How are you guys doing? Welcome back to another video, and it's finally time for me to update my Pan That Face palette. But alongside that, I'm going to be running in another project, which is Project 50 Uses, but that is only to do with my single eyeshadow palettes for the time being, or my single shades. So I'm not gonna let the intro go on for too long. Let's just dive right into the update. Okay, so I will first do the update for my Pan That Face palette, just because I've made so much progress and I really want to show you guys, because I feel like I've done such an amazing job. But I do have to go in and say that the only reason why I've not actually been able to pan this palette last year like I initially planned is due to the fact that I rolled in like this palette but also another blush, and they both looked so similar on me. And if you talk about it in like grams wise, it was almost like how many grams? There's like 11 grams of the same blush, and I wasn't actually able to pan either one of those completely. So the other blush that I was also doing in another project, I've now finally finished it last month and that's done. But because the shades were so similar, I kind of got bored of using this palette, and I kind of just chucked it to the side so I can focus on the actual like blush compact and get that out of the way. And then eventually I kind of got myself back into using this palette. I also kind of just got bored of it. I felt like I was trying to use it too much, or like try to pan it on purpose like really quickly, or just really heavily focus on it. And then I do have times when I'm actually motivated to use that product, but then times when I get extremely bored and I hit like a wall pretty bad during like, I want to say around November-ish. So I didn't really have that much progress, and I don't think I had that much progress to show last update either whenever I posted that. But over the last sort of like month or so, I've been really digging this palette again, and hopefully I've already showed you guys what this palette looked like last update, but this is what it looks like now. So as you can see now, I have used up the bronzer. The bronzer is completely gone. I've majorly expanded that pan in the highlighter, and I also have pan in the blush. Now I actually feel hopeful that I can completely pan this palette by the end of the year, and I don't even think it will take me the end of the year to do it, because I've now made so much progress and I can physically see how much progress, especially in that blush. I'm more tempted to use it, and I have also been doubling up on blushes, so using this with a different blush. And I've actually kind of really enjoyed doing like layering, which means that it's just like speeding up the process or the progress in this palette. Me hitting pan in this is actually quite a big motivation, just because now I feel like this blush is something I'm not gonna necessarily like hate using. Like I want to use it now because I want to get this done. I'm sort of like excited to finish it. I mean, by no means is this like a bad sort of blush shade on me. I think I got really tired of having the same sort of shade and like trying to use the same shade so much last year. And I also had like orangey ginger hair last year at some point, so a lot of the shades were kind of clashing and it wasn't really working that well. But like now I've got like a lot of virgin hair growth, and my hair is essentially black with just like some bits which are dyed, and it's still okay. Like I do feel like I can still experiment with specific shades. So I have been having a little bit more fun this year using this blush, and the fact that this highlighter now has such a large pan is actually really exciting, because I haven't panned a highlighter in a long time, especially like in a pan. So this would be really, really exciting to use. The bronzer I really liked. As soon as I started using that bronzer shade, I knew it was a shade for me. So I knew that that was always going to be the first product to go, and that's great. And I really enjoyed using it. The blushes, I think I always mention, one was a matte, one was a shimmer, and I had hit pan in both of them, so I just repressed it together in one pan because I was using them both together anyway. So it didn't make sense for me to just like repress the two separate blushes separately. So yeah, I've kind of just like mixed them together and I've been using that. I don't know if there is going to be progress again anytime soon, or if this is just going to end up feeling stagnant, which is a very likable thing to happen. But I do feel like I've really flattened the sort of center of this, just because of how dense my blush brush is. So it really just like takes away from the middle, and I do think that the pan on this will expand very, very quickly, which I'm actually really excited to see. With the highlighter though, sometimes I do feel like it's no longer working with the sort of other products I'm using, and I think that is just down to the products that I'm layering and the powders that I'm using, because of it's just some things work well, sometimes some things just don't, and sometimes this kind of does not work well with the actual powder that I use on my face, or at least under my eyes. So that is sort of an issue that I've kind of noticed. But I do tend to like take this whenever I use this highlighter, I tend to take it all over my lid anyway, so it kind of like lightens up the look, especially if I'm using like sort of like really deep shades. I love to do that just so it gives it like a more like lighter look, and I don't feel too weird wearing it, only because I'm not used to wearing very deep shades. Like today's fine, this is like a very sort of like normal-esque shade for me to wear, like I'm okay about with this depth. It's just when it goes to like the really deep end of the color spectrum is when I'm just like, oh, I don't think this necessarily suits me, let me like lighten this up. And that's when like I'll take this highlighter and put it all over my lid, and it's been working really well as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this looks like next time I do an update. Now for the other part of this sort of video, I'm going to be rolling in a project 50 uses, and that project is not meant to be on the forefront in any way. It's just something that I'm going to be doing in the background very sort of lazily. So it can take me like 10 years to hit 50 uses on the palette I'm trying to use, and I'm okay with that as long as I sort of like attempt to use this palette. It'll be nice. I've ended up with quite a few palettes full of single shades, whether they're depotted or whether I've actually bought them as singles. It's like a 50-50 almost split with both sort of things. So like I would really like to get more use out of my singles. I just have so much eyeshadow anyway, so I feel like I tend to forget about my single shadows, and I don't like that. So rather than them being completely neglected, I thought I'd bring this project in, and 50 uses I think is a good amount of usage on a palette, though ideally I should probably have it down to like 20 or 25, which is a little bit more realistic for me in this lifetime, but it's fine. I've been wanting to roll this project in for since last year at some point, and I've never got around to doing it. I don't think I've got a single video. I've recorded the video like 20 times, never posted it once, but I'm finally going to do this. But I'm going to do these two together because these are both going to be projects that I do sort of like loosely but in the background. So the palette is this, full of random shades. This is just what the palette itself looks like. And now this palette has also been modified so many times since I've like tried to roll this project in. So since I've like unofficially started this project, I've already used this palette 4 times. I have had shades from here that I've gotten rid of just because I just didn't like them. I've got shades that I've moved to a different palette. I've got new shades in here. It's just been such a mishmash of stuff. But these 6 shades that you see sort of here, there, like 2, 4, and 6, these are all what's left of my Natasha Denona Triochrome palette, because a lot of those shades, like the matte shades, expired, because I noticed with her shadows, they start to grow like white mold, like white little dots, and they've also caused irritation on my eyelids. So that's how I know that it was a sure like toss. But these are the 6 shades that survived, and I really want to use them because I love these like triochrome like colors that she has, and these mattes are also really nice, very grunge, and I really like those shades. I've got these 2 actual like single shadows from Lethal Cosmetics. They're both gorgeous. I need to just use them more often. Then I have all of these mattes here of like those, I guess, 8 shades. Those are all single shadows from Makeup Geek. The quality is fantastic. I just wish I had actually bought these before to really like use these. And these here are all depotted from Sample Beauty. No, actually this one is like a random shade I got from Glaminatrix. I don't know, it was just like a random unnamed shade that was just part of my order, like not last year, the year before, so I've just kept it in here anyway. And then this is a depotted shade from my Ace Beauté palette, and then this is like a free gift purchase from what are they called, Cliona Cosmetics. So I do have like a range of stuff in here. I feel like half of the palette is made of literally depotted shades, and the other half is shades that are supposed to be single. So this will be really fun to use as a palette. I do also feel like there's a lot of good colours in here for me to use. Some I can do like the lighter looks, I can go for like more fun colourful looks. I definitely have the opportunity to do grungy looks from this palette too, but this palette has been updated so many times. At this point, it's actually ridiculous. I do have a whole bunch of other palettes now, so I'm going to stop trying to like update this palette and kind of just like hit 50 uses like all over. So I need to dip into the palette on 50 different days to hit that sort of goal. I don't want to do it so that if in one day I use like 5 different shades, that counts towards the 50 uses. That doesn't really make sense. Every day I use this palette, that will be like a usage towards my 50 uses. Even if I use like every single shade from this palette, yeah, I kind of want to do it like that, because I really want to like push myself a little bit to really understand and see if these are going to be things that I want to keep. There is a high chance that eventually I might toss the entire palette, but that's what this project is for. And again, I'm doing it very loosely, so it's not like a pressure. I don't feel any pressure like of hitting pan or like making sure that I hit 50 uses by the end of the year. So far I've got 4 uses, actually 5. So like 5 uses out of 50, that's still a decent amount. It could literally go anyway. I could be trying to use the same palette like 3 years down the line, and I'm totally fine with that. I just want to have some uses towards this, and the whole point of this is just so that I can use what I have, see what I like, see what I want to toss from this, and just like revamp this palette as it goes. But this is just what this currently looks like. It would be nice to see how this project sort of goes, and if I feel like 50 uses is maybe a bit too ambitious, which I do think it is. So there is a very high chance I could drop that to 25 very quickly. I'm really, really excited for both of these projects essentially, and having to do a specific, like being focused on specific products, but not in a way that like I want to use this up right now, or like I need this used up, but more in a sense of I can kind of pick it up whenever I want to and kind of like have the project done and not stress about it. Like I'm just trying to take things a bit slow as well. And I think these 2 projects together are really good to kind of keep me a bit busy, but also not too worried. Like I know I can take my time using these products and it's fine. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what the next update will look like. I don't know if I'm going to update you next when I've hit like more significant pan on the other palette, or like if I hit like, I don't know, 10 or 15 uses on this palette. Like I really don't know at this point, and there's a hype, like, because I have no idea how this is going to go, or like how my makeup style will be, or what I gravitate towards. Literally, it could go anyway. I don't think I will be doing any makeup during March because it is Ramadan, and most likely I won't be doing it. So I'm trying to just get like makeup out of my system a little bit before then, so this is like pre-recorded by the time you guys see it. Or even if I do makeup, it'll be probably the week when I'm on my period, because then obviously we're not fasting, so the amount of makeup progress for March will be very, very low, and then makeup progress will pick up exponentially in April, because I've got another wedding to go to. There's going to be loads of events, I'm going to be busy, and there's going to be a lot more to do in April. Then obviously the weather gets nicer, so we'll see. But that's sort of like how it's going to go. The next update might not be until like May, just to give me some time to just play around with these products, especially this palette. But yeah, I think I will just end the video here because I feel like this is probably too long as it is. But thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and I'll catch you next week with another video.